everyone, this is Julie with Beading, and I want to show you how to incorporate finial beads into your memory wire projects and use them to finish off an end. So I have memory wire right here. I've actually done one end already. So you can see what this looks like. A finial bead is a half drilled bead and it's nice and smooth. It's like a round ball. So I do have a project right here that I'm working on. It's not quite done, but you'll see that I have one end finished with a finial bead. And I have a little loop on the other end. So I'm going to talk to you about why I have a little loop on one end as well. So I was experimenting with this and I thought, wow, this is going to look so great. I'm going to have a finial bead on each end and it's going to look so clean. But I don't want you to be frustrated, and I was quite frustrated trying to get the finial bead onto this end. It was super easy to do it on this end. I'm going to show you that in this video here. But every time I kept trying to put it on here, the beads kept scooting off and the finial bead was it was really hard to attach. And so I don't know if at this point I would recommend trying to finish both ends. I think this is great if you want one simple end finished and clean, and then maybe you want to put a charm or a dangle on the other end and just make a little loop. So I'm going to show you how to get the finial bead onto one end, and it is a really nice anchor. It's very solid. But feel free, if you want to experiment and try to get it on both ends, go for it. Maybe there's a little trick that I just haven't thought of, and if that's the case, I'll come shoot another video. But we have the bracelet right here, and we have, this is what it looks like. Here's memory wire, and I put one on one end already so you can see what that looks like. It's really nice and clean, and it fits really nicely onto memory wire. So you can use E6000 or use GS Hypo Cement. I'm going to create a little bit of a well with some kids' clay. So this is my kids' Play-Doh. And this is what I like to do for finial beads so they don't roll all over the place. I basically just pick one up, position it with the hole facing up, and I set it down into the clay. So that hole is upright, it's not gonna roll anywhere. Then I take my glue and I put a little dot of glue right there into the hole. It doesn't take much. It's not a very big bead. It's not a very big hole. I'm just off camera trying to close my GS Hypo Cement. Okay, and then what I do is I'm going to take my memory wire end, just separate it out. I'll try to do this so my hand doesn't cover it. Here we are. There we are, and I am just going to set it down into the hole and into the glue, and I'm pressing it against my work surface, and I'm just going to drag that away from the clay, and now it's set in there, and the clay is just Play-Doh. I can clean that later. So I'm going to let that dry fully, and then when it's fully dry, you'll see it's an end like this, and you can add all your beads to it. It becomes a bead stopper. So that's how easy it is. You just make a little well. If you have a little bit of clay or glue tack or any of that type material, and then you just are gonna set that bead down into it. Whoops, I dropped it. But you're just gonna take that bead, you're gonna find the little hole, put it right there, and then you're gonna take your memory wire. We're gonna pretend I just added more glue to that just so you can see this a second time. Just take your memory wire and stick the end right into it, drag it out of it, and then you'll have it on the end and it'll be really nice and finished. And I do absolutely encourage people to experiment, try to get it on both ends. I just didn't want to recommend it when I found it pretty frustrating. So I would personally just make a little loop on the other end, or a traditional way of finishing off a memory bracelet. And then you've got one really nice stopper here where it looks really nice and finished. And then you have a spot where you can add a decorative element with a little loop. So the best of both worlds. I hope you enjoyed this video. We have many, many more over at beadaholique.com.